Good morning, gang. I hope you're all well. We've got ourselves an auction today where we're going to be using a proxy bid. Now, I know that you guys all know what a proxy bid is, but in Victoria, it doesn't get used half as often as what I believe it should. Gets used all the time over in the ditch in New Zealand, but here it's very, very rarely used. I'm going to get an opportunity to use that here today. So I'm going to diarise what happens so that you guys can see the power and effectiveness that can come from using a proxy bid to start your auction. Hope it goes well. I'm sure it will. The weather is absolutely shocking, but that shouldn't dampen our spirits. I'll keep you informed and we'll see how we get on with a proxy bid at the start of the auction. Now, for those of you that don't know what a proxy bid is, I thought I'd quickly best explain it before I head into the house. So what we've done is we've explained that situation to them and said to them that if you put an offer in writing, then we will make sure that we declare the property at that level, and start the auction off at the bid that they've put in writing. Now, the interesting thing about this one in particular is that the offer that has been put forward is right smack in the middle of that statement of information range. So it'll be really interesting to see the reaction from the buyers that are here, because undoubtedly some will be coming here thinking and hoping that they can get themselves a really good deal, which is absolutely fair enough. So that's what the situation is, guys. We've got an offer from a purchaser that cannot communicate or be here in any way, shape or form, but really wants to give themselves a shot at getting the home. And then from the vendor's point of view, they understand and know that the very least that they're going to get at auction is this proxy bid offer level, which is an interesting thing for them too. But in a transitioning market, those proxy bids can be a really strong way to start your auction, and at the same time locking that buyer in to making sure that they stay at that level and don't disadvantage your vendors if the property passes in at a lower level than that. Interesting times, guys. We've got to try and make sure we try and act a little bit more dynamically. Let's go inside the house and we'll see how we get on. Into this little bit, because this is where it does get slightly different from what you may have already experienced before during an auction. We have had a particular purchaser come to us prior to auction today and indicated that they absolutely want to make their interest known via a written offer. Now, because there has been interest from other parties, both the vendors and us and the agents, they do not want anybody to miss out on potentially buying the home. But we have accepted the offer as a proxy bid to start the auction off with. Okay? So this is totally legitimate. So what happens is we don't start wherever you guys want to start. We actually start where this offer sits. Okay? So it saves a lot of the hassle and the rigmarole of going through the motions and so on and so forth at the bottom end of the range. But what we do have is an offer that is within the statement of information range. And it is damn close to where we need to be. Okay? So I'm not placing a vendor bid. I will not need to place any vendor bids. Okay? This might happen real quick. This might go on for a little while, but we're about to see what happens. We have an offer in writing at $550,000. So we are going to start with a proxy bid of $550,000 and accept any rise or offer from there. So just to reiterate, this is a proxy bid, not a vendor bid with me. This is a live bid at $550,000, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll accept a 5 or any sort of rise from there. Big decision for our vendors. Obviously, we have that live bid at $550,000. If we see no better bids from here, I will call it 3 times, and then we'll be passing the property in and negotiating exclusively with that purchaser. At $550,000, ladies and gents, we have put our buyers in a good position. We've put our vendors in a decent position because we're going to get this deal done here today, I fear. What do you reckon, Joe? Is that correct?
That's the plan.
That's the plan. So at $550,000, ladies and gentlemen, for 10 room present here in Cranbourne North, if we're all done and signed at $550,000, I will be passing the property in on a live bid at $550,000. All right, guys, the story as it's happened and as it's unfolding, we've successfully managed to negotiate a deal today.
We passed the property in at 550,000 on that proxy bid, which obviously had no competition to go along with it. So as a result of that, the vendor's reserve was at 560. Buyers were at 550, and we've managed to get hold of both parties, even though neither of them were here today, and we've negotiated it to a deal at 555,000. Everybody's happy, buyers happy, vendors happy, agents happy, and that makes us happy. Reason why it's worked is because of that proxy bid. Because we made it absolutely sure and clear to the buyers that we were going to use that as a legitimate opening offer, they were locked into that $550,000, okay? Now, from their point of view, they are in a position of strength. So it's not a bad thing for buyers to do this anyway, because if any other competition had to come out the woodwork, they could have potentially, if it got passed in on a vendor bid, been looking at offers in competition with anybody else. They might have missed out over a couple of grand. They might have overpaid by a damn sight more. So it wasn't a bad thing for the buyers to do this. But from the vendor's perspective, they have managed to go through the auction process without having that much increased level of risk by not knowing where this thing's going to end up. They've got a legitimate offer at 550. They're only $10,000 away from their reserve point anyway. So it gives them a chance to see what the market's prepared to do, which makes their decision a lot more clear and concise moving forward. Now, like I said, that proxy bid was a legitimate thing that the buyer allowed us to do because it gave them a position of power that they were going to have first rights to negotiate. Think about that proxy bid method, guys, because we haven't got as many buyers kicking around. There's not as many bids happening either. So we need to get the opportunity while it's there, use it on the day, and then be able to backtrack and negotiate from that point, because you've given yourself a foundation for success moving forward. Hope that made sense, guys. Any questions, give us a call. But guys, proxy bid in a transitioning market, it's a great way to go.